Hello, everybody. David Reed here, criminal defense attorney, Austin, Texas. I have an interesting video here in front of me called The Interrogation of Stephanie Lazarus, done by JCS Criminal Psychology. They do investigations into interrogations, analysis of cases, evidence, etc. So I have not watched this video, but I have had someone recommend it to me, so we're going to watch it together. But I do need to say beforehand that this is not legal advice. If you have a legal issue, you need to retain myself or another attorney in order to be able to deal with the specific facts of your case and help you out. Anything that I'm saying here is my own opinion as a defense attorney, but it is not legal advice to you or your specific case. So please find someone, myself or another, as an expert who can help you out. All right, guys, let's get this video going. Let's see what we got happening here.
The detectives created a ruse, inviting Stephanie to come in and advise them on a case involving stolen art. Knowing they were dealing with one of their own, they rehearsed and prepared for the interview more than anything.
Even right there, you can see this video starts with them rehearsing a lie in order to deceive somebody. Again, investigators, detectives, they lie. You cannot trust them. You do not talk to them. They are not trustworthy people. They will not help you out. Even though they say, help me out, I'll help you out, they're not going to help you out. They're just going to try to charge you and send you to prison for as long as they possibly can.
They had done before. Their plan of attack was to keep the conversation as casual as possible for as long as possible, and carefully waited for the key moments to initiate the confrontation.
This is something we often see as well. In a lot of these videos, you'll notice that the detectives or the investigators show up and they spend a whole 5, 10, 15 minutes just trying to make the accused their friend, make them trust them. Start telling them whatever they need to know. Where do you go to school? Where are you from? Do you got kids? Do you work? They're just kicking this shit, trying to build trust so that then the accused will give them information that they should not give them. Even if they're being nice, they're trying to fuck you. Do not talk to them.
Stephanie, I don't know if you know my partner.
Hey,
great.
Hi.
Sure, nice to
Yeah,
meet
see
you.
you guys.
How's it going?
Good.
Just milling around. Well, I would say I didn't want to talk about this in the squad.
So look at the angle of this video. Once again, it is so close to the accused that you can't even see her face as of yet. That is most likely because this is a hidden camera. It may not be. We'll find out in a minute. But they will often record you even when they tell you that they are not recording you. And then they will hide the camera so it's not easy to see. My guess is that this is a hidden camera because the angle's bad. Once again, do not trust them. Whatever they tell you, especially if they tell you they're not trying to arrest you or get you in trouble, they're just trying to figure out what happened. Especially if they say that they're not recording it. Everything's recorded and everything will be used against you.
Because I don't know who people are listening.
That's true.
And if we go to my side, everybody's always wondering what everybody
Oh, yeah,
else is
sure, no
doing.
problem.
Okay?
The first thing the detectives do is set up a compatible tone with the suspect. She has just stepped foot inside an interrogation room, and the detectives negate the negative implications of such an environment through a friendly disposition. Consultative meetings, such as seeking advice over an art theft, can take place anywhere, and the last place detectives would choose to spend more time in would be an interrogation room. The reason they give the suspect for meeting in such an unusual location is to not spread rumors or innuendo. Yet the real reason is that all firearms have to be checked in before entering the area, and they needed the suspect to give up her gun without alerting suspicion.
But like we're talking about being busy and stuff, we've been assigned a case that we've been looking at.
Okay.
It's a new case, and reviewing the case, there's some notes to see as far as your name being mentioned.
Okay.
Do you know John Rutan?
Try and imagine for one moment that you savagely murdered a love rival in a jealous rage. Over 2 decades had passed since the act. Then all of a sudden, you're brought to an interrogation room and sat directly opposite 2 senior investigators who bring up the name of the man you committed first-degree homicide for.
Think about that question. Do you know this individual? There is no good answer. If you say yes, they're one closer to proving whatever they're trying to prove. If you say no, and they can prove that that's a lie at some point, they'll use it to prove that you were lying, which means you should be lying about other things. There's no win to that answer. You just have to not fucking answer.
John Rutten?
Rutan.
The investigators already knew how to say John Rutten's name correctly. The mispronunciation was a simple strategy to see how the suspect would react. Setting aside the element of the
Another form of deception. They're always deceiving you. Just remember that.
murder. John Rutten was the second longest relationship in Stephanie's life, and a psychiatrist later stated that this pause was 4 times as long as it should have been. She was already being deceptive by acting as if she hadn't thought about that name for so long, giving reason for her prolonged reflection, when in reality, the name John Rutten was engraved in her memory, and even when slightly mispronounced, it would have most likely taken milliseconds for her to realize exactly who the detectives were referring to.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Yeah.
How long did you know him?
Gosh, I went to school in, let's see, went to UCLA in 1978 I started, and, met him at school at the dorms.
Mm-hmm.
She says she met him in the dorms, yet left out the fact that they had dated for 4 years and went on numerous holidays together. Even though she wasn't asked directly, a truthful subject would most often volunteer this information without having to be pressed for it.
Even though they should not volunteer any information.
Were you guys friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends.
Yeah.
I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's a case we're working on, and it involves John, and in there, some of the statements we reviewed, there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we good friends, lived in the dorms for 2 years.
You guys lived in the same dorm?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dykstra.
Okay. Were you guys just friends or anything else, or?
Yeah, we were good friends.
Yeah. Was there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated, I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to his wife.
It's unfortunate that Stephanie's face wasn't captured at this moment, because she would have no doubt been immediately struck by the psychological reaction known as fight or flight. Her brain would have just triggered the influx of a specific cocktail of hormones in order to prepare her to either stay and deal with a threat or try and run away to safety. Stephanie chooses to fight.
Okay.
Okay. Did you know her?
Not really. I mean, I knew that he got married years ago.
Uh-huh. Did you ever meet her?
God, I don't know.
Do you know who she was or anything?
Well, let me think. God, it's been a long time ago. I may have met her. Geez.
The words gosh, God, gee are exclamatory remarks used to express surprise or strong emotion. You will see them used continuously throughout this interrogation, which is the suspect trying to insinuate a vague memory due to a lack of contemplation on the subject matter. She's trying to emit the impression that she would have had no reason to give any further thought to John, or anything related to John, since they stopped seeing each other over 2 decades ago.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. You said you dated John. How long did you guys date?
I mean, are you guys, is this something?
As we know, Stephanie is a cop and has been for 25 years. She will be wise to the fact that acting oblivious to the unusual development of the situation will be a glaring red flag in the eyes of the investigators. It's been shown.
She should also be wise to the idea that talking to the police is fucking retarded, but she's not that intelligent, apparently.
Time and again on this channel, guilty suspects will often try and act naive to a blatant confrontation as a means to avoiding it altogether, whereas truthful subjects will address the confrontation and either refute it, or if it's subtle, want immediate clarification and transparency as to what was being insinuated.
I mean, you said I was going to interview somebody about art, and how you guys are...
Here's
I mean...
Stephanie, here's the situation. It's basically, we knew that this, when we saw this in this chrono, that maybe, there was some relationship there. That's what the chrono seemed to indicate.
The detective now subtly avoids the question altogether, but instead offers a deceptively reassuring response to the suspect. He makes a very sharp switch from the investigative subject matter to the previous topic of workplace rumors. He brings her focus back to the false perception of them being on her side. Stephanie had just asked what was going on, and now he essentially replies with, "We are your friends. We're doing you a favor."
Another fucking lie.
And we didn't want to come up to you at your desk and ask those kinds of questions or do anything. You know how up there people can see what's going on if you go into an interview room or people are in there getting supplies.
Okay. I mean...
So we wanted to afford you some privacy, some confidentiality to talk about this, because we thought it might be, something, you're married to someone else, obviously, and so forth, and that you may not want.
They're not trying to provide her a confidential place to talk about it. They're trying to provide her a place on camera to talk about it.
want to, talk about these things in that setting where someone, we don't want the rumor mill or gossip or any of that kind of stuff
I
to
mean,
start.
that's fine. I mean,
So we did this just as a means to try and speak to you in just a confidential place where where your business isn't out there for other people in your division to know about.
Whether it be shock or the total reluctance to accept the situation at hand, Stephanie warily accepts the reassuring response without further inquiry into her initial challenge. She instead falls back into her agenda of having a foggy memory with regard to the incriminating contents.
God, that's been a million years ago. I mean,
even that is bad. Well, her saying how it's a foggy memory. Well, if she has to go to trial and if she decides to testify and she wants to testify to any fact, they could use this to say that how can you testify to that fact? Wasn't it all foggy? Once again, she's just further bearing herself.
What year is it now? 2009? I mean, I graduated in 82, yeah. We dated. I dated other guys. I'm sure he dated other girls.
Well, let me ask you, roughly how long would you say you guys dated?
Oh, jeez. I couldn't even say. I mean...
Notice how she now goes on to over-explain things that don't require an explanation and weren't even inquired about. It's a clear-cut indication of hyperarousal and a derivative of TMT, also known as terror management theory. The suspect will go off on unrelated tangents as means for gaining momentary relief. Going into detail about trivial things affords her a brief escape from the terrifying reality eventuating before her. This is a very common occurrence in interrogations where the suspect is facing serious charges, and psychiatrists believe it to be a subconscious coping mechanism.
I started school there in 78. I started UCLA in 1978. I graduated in 82. I don't even remember what year he graduated, if it was a year or two before me.
Okay.
I think he was a little bit older than I was. I mean, I can't remember if he was born, let's say I'm born in 1960. I don't know if he was born in 58 or 59. I mean, I knew his parents, I knew his sister, his brother went to Northridge.
Once again, telling the detectives how well you know the family and how you know all the family members does not help the situation when you are a suspect.
His sister had spent the night at my house before. Obviously, I spent the night at his house before. He probably spent the night at my house before. Well,
correct me if I'm wrong, because from what you're telling me is you guys dated while you were in college together, right?
Yeah, and probably after college. I can't. Geez, trying.
Come on, guys. Realistically, who doesn't remember whether they dated somebody after college or just during college? The more she talks, the more she looks like a liar.
I think when I met my husband in, when did I meet Scott? Let's see, I was teaching DARE, because I met Scott when I was teaching DARE up in Oregon. But we had long stopped, dating before that.
So you haven't talked to him for a long time?
Oh, I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I couldn't even tell you when the last time I talked to him. I met Scott, I'm thinking in 92 maybe, April of 92. It was
Scott being your husband.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Even think about that. Guys, this is a police officer, and she's saying that she hasn't spoken to this gentleman since 92. My guess is before the question was asked by the detectives, they already have proof that she's talked to him more recently than that.
I was teaching DARE. Let's see, what year is this? We'll be married. I got married in 1996. I think I met Scott in 92. Prior to that, I couldn't tell you how long I had talked to John prior to that.
But since you met your husband, Scott, you haven't talked to him?
I mean, he may have called me once or twice before we...
Once again, she just sounds like she's lying. He may have called me. Well, he called you or he didn't call you. Everything coming out of her mouth just sounds like a lie. It would be better for her just to not be fucking talking.
Got married.
Right.
Geez, I moved to Simi in 1994 because I lost my house in the earthquake.
Oh, really?
Quite honestly, I probably keep in contact with a few people from the dorms. We all lived on the 10th floor,
There might have been some fun things going on the 10th floor.
about 3 or 4 people I keep in contact with. There's probably like 6 or 8 of us that were all really close.
And who are those people?
Oh, geez. Diana Basta.
Here, she's going to list off the other people that were other close friends. All she is doing is giving the detectives potential witnesses that they can then call to try to further prove her guilt.
The people I still keep. I haven't been in contact with her in a long time. I mean, what's this all about? I mean.
Second time she's asking what's this all about. I doubt the detectives are going to answer it this time either. We'll see.
Well, let me ask you.
The suspect challenges the detectives for the second time, and once again the question is avoided, but this time in a more confrontational manner, as the topic is maintained with no reassurance afforded. The detectives are ramping up the pressure in a very subtle yet highly effective manner.
What ended the relationship between you and John?
You know, it was kind of a weird relationship. I mean, we dated. I can't say that he was my boyfriend. I don't know that he would consider me his girlfriend. We dated, we did things. I played sports in college, he played basketball, his brother played
Sounds like an interesting dating relationship.
basketball. We just, it just didn't work out. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It was like, I went out with other guys, saw other guys, I went on lots of vacations,
And once you guys split, were you guys still friends, or kind of,
I mean,
problems? Is it friendly, not friendly?
No, I don't think it was not friendly. I mean, we were friendly. I know that we went to Hawaii at one point. Yeah, I mean,
And you were saying that
it's 2009 now.
Had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Do you remember her name or anything, or?
Second time she says she may have met the wife. She either met the wife or she didn't meet the wife. She remembers, and the officers know that she remembers. It's just another thing that looks a whole lot like a lie.
Or what she did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
The suspect was just asked 3 consecutive questions relating to the victim. She was supposedly in a reflective state during all 3 of the questions, yet her facial expression completely changed for the 3rd one. This is because she was pretending to be in a state of reflection for the first 2 questions, as she already knew the answers, whereas for the 3rd question, she actually was in a state of reflection and was genuinely searching her memory for the correct response.
Had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Do you remember her name or anything, or?
The 3rd question is about to be posed, and her focus is about to switch from pretending to be thinking to actually thinking.
Or what she did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
Well, I think I'm going to say that I think she was a nurse. Man, I can't remember how he said he met her. I mean, it's been so long ago.
Well, let me ask you, did you go to their wedding,
No, I didn't go to their wedding. No, did not go to their wedding.
That's probably good she didn't go to the wedding.
I couldn't even tell you what year he got married. I mean, it's been a million years ago. Again, I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
You wouldn't need to be an expert in body language to recognize the unmitigated terror emanating from the suspect's face at this moment. She had just verbalized the victim's tragic demise for the first time in most likely over 2 decades.
What did you hear about that?
I saw a poster at work. I'm sure I spoke to him about it. I think I spoke to another friend of his about it.
And how did you first learn about that?
Jeez. Someone could have called me. I could have heard it at work. I think at one point there may have been a flyer or something. I know a good friend of his...
Were you on the job back then when that happened?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm sure I was on the job. That's why I would have heard about it with the flyer. He had a good friend, Mike Boldrick.
I think it's important to point out here, guys, that this is a former police officer, and she is playing dumb, and the detectives are using all the same basic manipulation games on someone that was formerly their people, a former police officer. They'll use it against their own if they want to. They're not even loyal to their own people.
You know.
But being that you're kind of used to see John, you know, was it everything okay between you guys? I mean, there was never anything uncomfortable or anything between you and her?
8 separate witnesses testified that Stephanie had confronted Sherry at the hospital she worked at, while the two of them were reportedly in an intimate relationship with John. The confrontation was said to have been highly aggressive, and Stephanie had to be escorted off the premises by security.
Once again, back to the question where they asked if she'd ever met her. They already had proof that she'd met her, and she said no or maybe on multiple occasions. Usually if they're asking you a question and it feels like you should lie about it, they already know the real answer.
Reports stated that Stephanie was by far the more combative and even made threats against Sherry's life.
You know, I don't know. I mean, it's been so many years. I mean, uncomfortable. I mean, I can't even remember if we had a conversation. I mean, we may have. I may have seen her at his apartment. You know, geez, how many years ago?
Another geez.
Was that?
Lots
I don't
of
even know
Jesus.
what year she, got killed.
Where was his apartment?
Notice her passive disposition as she gives the following truthful response.
On Roscoe.
Okay.
Yeah, Roscoe and east or west of DeSoto. Either east or west of DeSoto.
Do you know where he moved after? Did he move after he got married, or do you know? Or
Now notice how her disposition switches from passive to frantic as she once again pretends to have a vague memory.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
did you know where he was living, or?
Somewhere in the valley?
Did you ever visit him and his wife?
No.
No, never
No.
went out to, get together, dinners, anything of that nature?
No. Like I said, his sister used to come over. His sister had come to my place. I knew his brother because his brother played basketball at Northridge. In fact, I was just coming across some pictures that I had just scanned from. I take a lot of photos, like 10,000, and I just did a service where I scanned everything.
And after his wife died, did you talk to him again or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I did talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to.
So here she just said that she did talk to him after his wife died. I believe earlier in this video, maybe about 5 or 10 minutes ago, she said she wasn't sure if she had spoken to him after that. Once again, she just got caught in a lie.
Him, probably his parents, probably some other friends. I'm sure I talked to him.
Yeah.
But you're not sure where he moved to after he got married?
No idea. I mean,
Never went over to visit him or
I don't think.
meet
I
his
mean, I
wife,
don't think so. I mean.
She said she had no idea, and then she says, "I do not think so." Once again, not helping herself out.
I don't know. I don't think I did. I know he lived on Roscoe for a long, long time.
And you're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, I got a problem with, with that.
Okay.
Okay? So, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to figure out what happened, Stephanie.
They're not trying to figure out what happened. They have already decided what happened, and they're just trying to go ahead and nail her to that crucifix.
Well, I'm just saying, do I need to get a lawyer if you're accusing me of this?
You don't have to. I mean,
I'm just,
you're here of your own free will. I mean,
no. I know, but I mean,
you're not.
Right there, she's asking, do I need to get a lawyer? If it ever crosses your mind to wonder if you need to get a lawyer, you need a lawyer. You probably needed a lawyer before that point. But once again, you can't ask. You have to state that you want a lawyer, and you're not going to talk to them until you have your lawyer. And then they're going to try to convince you otherwise. Stand by it.
Not under arrest. You can walk out.
You can leave whenever you like.
Well, I'm trying to give you some background of how I knew him, and now you're telling me that somebody's saying that we had this big old fight, and I don't even know what you're talking about, you know, and I don't want to, you know, get in trouble for something that I didn't even do, or you're saying I did something.
Okay.
Yeah, we understand.
I mean, how would you guys like it if the tables were turned on you?
I understand. No.
No, that's what we're telling you. I mean, you're free to go whenever you want. If this makes you uncomfortable and you want to,
Now you're starting to make me uncomfortable.
The thing is, I mean, detectives did what they could at that time on the crime scene. Okay, and the burglary thing you're talking about, that is an angle that they looked at. I go, but now we're looking at everything else on the case, because nobody was ever arrested on the case.
I don't know that or not.
Okay. Now, what we'd like to do is, obviously you know about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that, you know, gets done on cases nowadays. You know, if we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe. Because now
Because
I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
Once again, she thinks she's going to need to talk to a lawyer. She doesn't think, she knows, and she needs to say it.
I mean,
Well,
because I know how this stuff works, okay? Don't get me wrong. You're right. I have been doing this a long time.
She doesn't know how this stuff works, or she wouldn't be here giving up all this information.
yeah.
And I wish I had been recording this because now it sounds
She doesn't have to worry about recording it because they're recording it.
like, you know, there's, you know, you're telling these people say I'm fighting with her, and now it sounds like you're trying to, you know, I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
We know.
Okay? And now it almost sounds like you're trying to pin something on me.
No,
now
but-
I got that sense.
Well, what it gets to on these
She got that sense about 19 minutes and 43 seconds too late.
cases, and you know it as well as I do, our job is to identify and eliminate
I
suspects.
can't believe this.
So if we ask you to the point to give us a DNA sample, a buccal swab, so we can identify or eliminate you, would you be willing to do that?
Maybe.
Well,
Because I know this.
well, that's where we're at to. I mean, because right now, from looking at the evidence, it's, you know, it's possible we may have some DNA at the location.
That's great.
And we're going to do what we can to try to put this thing together. And your name's in the book. These people are pointing at you for whatever reason.
I don't know why.
And
That's
Again, guys, if they're ever asking for any kind of sample of anything, including a DNA, you don't give it to them. There's no reason to do so. They have the opportunity to go get a warrant from a judge and come take it from you. But until a judge is forcing it, we don't give them anything.
just crazy. I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
And it would be irresponsible on our part not to look at it.
I know. You guys have to do your job, and I guess I'm gonna have to contact somebody. So.
That's fair.
I mean, because I know how this stuff works. I
Sure.
mean, I just can't believe it.
That's, I mean, we understand that. I mean, if we were in your position, I mean, we would feel the same way.
I just can't even believe it. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that somebody would be saying that I did this. I mean, we had a fight, so I went and killed her. I mean, come on.
Well,
That's,
okay.
All right.
well, thanks for giving me the courtesy. I wish I recorded it.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Stephanie, take care.
All right.
So you can see here right now, she has exercised her right to not be here because she had not been arrested and she was here voluntarily. So she gets to get up and leave when she wants to get up and leave. Unfortunately, it's just about 21 minutes too late.
This is absolutely crazy.
Have a seat, Stephanie.
This is insane.
Okay.
Oh, just kidding. She's back.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Stephanie, you know you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes.
So here right now, she's getting her Miranda rights. They're going to tell her about her right to remain silent. And my guess is she is going to continue talking.
Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have the right to the presence of an attorney before and during any questioning. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you free of charge before any questioning if you want. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you want to talk to us right now?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Even she knows once you hear the Miranda rights, it's time to shut the fuck up.
It's crazy. This is I'm like in shock. I'm totally in shock.
This afternoon, we are back on the record in People versus Lazarus. Shortly before noon, the jury announced they have a verdict. We will take the verdict at this time.
People of the State of California versus Stephanie Eileen Lazarus. Case number BA 357423. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Stephanie Eileen Lazarus, guilty of the crime of murder of Sherry Rasmussen in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony, as charged in count 1 of the information. We further find the murder was of the first degree.
Your Honor, I'm John.
Guys, we don't know the evidence in this case. They might have had her dead to rights. They might not have. But I can promise you what we watched in this video helped her get convicted. Didn't do anything to help her. It just helped give the state what they need to put her away. She might have gone away anyways. But this conversation she had over the last 23 minutes here very well may have been the nail in the coffin before she ever got to trial.
John Rutten. Thank you for the opportunity to speak during this hearing. There are really no words that can describe the loss of Sherry and the whole of this experience, so it makes no sense to talk very long. It suffices to say that the rest...
Guys, what you see here is this is the husband of the murdered wife, and at the end, often in trials, during sentencing, the family of the victim or the alleged victim will have an opportunity to get up and to make a statement in front of the judge and to let them know how they feel, how it's affected them. This is often something that is taken into account in sentencing before a judge would determine how long he were to be sentencing somebody to. So this stuff's important. It really matters. And I'm going to guess that this is not going to help out Miss Lazarus' cause.
Rasmussen family, my family, and Stephanie's family have been thrust into a bizarre world of disbelief and indescribable sadness. Sherry Rasmussen had a profound impact on so many people. And I was proud that she agreed to be my wife. It was impossible not to notice Sherry when she entered a room. To me, her physical presence was startling. I can clearly remember the first moment I laid eyes on her. Sherry Rasmussen was a physical presence, and my heart still races when I look at pictures of her. But Sherry was extraordinary, more for who she was than the way she looked. She was a hard worker, a consummate professional, a leader, a diplomat, forgiving, tough, and a kid at heart. Sherry's loss, the way she died, and the trial 25 years after her death has had a profound impact on many, many others. The effects are broad and span a generation, creating pain for those whose lives should have never been touched by this tragic event. Again, words are feeble tools for describing these impacts, but there are so many moments and so very many tears. And the fact that Sherry's death occurred because she met and married me brings me to my knees.
Stephanie Lazarus was sentenced to 27 years to life for the murder of Sherry Rasmussen. She is currently being held inside the maximum security unit of the Central California Women's Facility.
And she's a former police officer, which means it's going to be a very long, very uncomfortable prison stay.
Any other cars that stand out in your mind?
Fuck this.
All right, guys, all done with this video. Once again, David Reed here, Law Office of David Reed. I'm a criminal defense attorney in Austin, Texas. If you have any questions or you have any needs for legal representation, please give me a call at 512-853-0100. If you are in Austin or nearby, we can set a meeting at my office. And if you are further than that, we can make sure we get you pointed in the right direction to someone that can help you out and take care of you. Thank you so much, and have a good day.